Hey there, folks. It's the E-Man here. Sorry about there might be a little bit of a noise. I got the fan going. Yep. Apologize. It's kind of dark in here. I tried to adjust it a little bit, but sunlight shining through back there. Anywho's, I guess I wanted to talk about something rather intriguing, because I know most of you have probably already seen it if you are a fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd. His 20th anniversary episode. You could say technically it's been 18 years, but whatever. It was an interesting concept because, as a lot of you know, if you've been watching a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of the major YouTubers that have big giant careers, they always have this, there's like, what was their first game? Excuse me. Yeah, like the completion list. His first game was Mega Man X. I guess, and the Nerds happens to be Castlevania 2. Happens to be Castlevania 2 on the NES, so it's like, yeah, there's a lot of YouTubers that seem to be able to trace back to like what their first video was. As for me, I'm not really sure what my first video was. I've been on YouTube for a few years. I'm not monetized. I'm doing this for fun. I don't want to become one of those big eggheads, that they get too big to fail and they have all these problems and all these other issues. Of course, I don't claim to be perfect. I may have some underlining issues as well, but for the most part, I just like to do games and whatnot. Yes, and I know that this is, of course, James Rouse, the Angry Video Game Nerd's opinion about what he thinks about the Castlevania series. I guess, in my opinion, I think all the Castlevania games, I think they all have something good about them, and they all have, they all have flaws, but they all are ultimately really good. I don't think James Rolfe was trying to say that, he loves Castlevania 4 over all of them. I think he just really likes the multi-directional whip. Well, I guess Super Castlevania 4 was done so well that it's hard to, as an example, the Metroid on the Super NES. They made Super Metroid so good, they were so nervous to try to make another one. So, Castlevania 4, it's like, well, the Castlevania games, I think a lot of them were made by, there's different teams that made them, of course, different consoles. I think that there's so many Castlevania games. I don't know if any of them I feel are really bad. They all have their positives and negatives like everything else, but to me, all the Castlevania games are great. I don't want to try to decide which one is the best. I understand James Rolfe likes the original style of Castlevania games, of course. Not the, the role-playing of Symphony of the Night started up. I do think that the Castlevania series is weird that, we never got a game like Symphony of the Night that was on an actual console. They were put on to the portable consoles, and I've played all those. It does seem like a missed opportunity. Of course, you can play a lot of these Castlevania games now. Yeah, Castlevania Chronicles, I discovered that on the PlayStation 3 store. That Rondo of Blood, when I first heard about it, I was able to get it on the Wii eShop. That tells you how old I am. Yeah. There's Castlevania, I think the Adventure remaster. I do think James Rolfe should cover more Castlevania games in other videos, in my opinion. And I know what people are saying that this might be his last video. He's going to retire. To him, I'm not going to try to voice it. He's been doing this for a while. I don't think anyone could touch him. I know that I personally will never get as popular as he ever will. And I know there's a lot of people that don't, have criticism for him, but that's okay to have criticism and have your own opinion about someone and what they do. Well, I do wish that maybe he had done more, like, talking about his older videos and stuff. Not just, I understand he's focused on Castlevania, since that's kind of where his roots to when he started doing this. I have seen the first episode, Castlevania 2, and it's kind of funny. Yeah. It's hard to believe that he just started from pretty much almost nothing to superstardom, and he's had other people that have come and gone his orbit, but I feel like James Rolfe, we haven't really found out he's a jerk, or there hasn't been, well, at least as far as I know, there hasn't been any major giant conspiracies. Him and Mike Mattel probably had their issues, but that's their business, I really do like his videos, especially his Final Fantasy VI video. As I've said in the past, I've done other talking point videos, because back then I wasn't particularly good at doing videos. I do videos a lot better now, I think my quality's a little bit better. Sometimes I have sound issues, but ultimately, it's since my voice, I have a very quiet voice, so I have to speak up a little bit. Or there's been past videos where didn't hear my audio or whatever. Yeah, because back in the day I had to use a camera looking at the television to do it, especially with the PlayStation 3 when I was trying to do Xenogears. I got to part 6 of Xenogears, I think. Still want to try to get back to that. It's been hard because, of course, I wanted to try to play it on here, on PlayStation emulator. The problem is I couldn't access the save data on the PlayStation 3, and it's kind of a little bit of a long game, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's like sometimes you get, I got rather ambitious with some of my videos. Like, like Xenogears, probably, an RPG, those are pretty big, but I had the guts to try to do it. I did other videos, of course, like Aladdin, Demon's Crest, a lot of these unknown kind of, these Super Nintendo games that most people probably haven't played. Or what? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be here 20 years from now still doing this, but, Yeah, I could do big flashy things. I could try to, contact people that could help me, like, edit things, do magnificent things that I would love to be able to do. I have a lot of creativity with this, but of course I don't, the know-how, I've vaguely learned how to do a lot of this myself. Yeah, it's like the silly editing things, and it's like, I don't really edit any of my videos, so a lot of times you'll have me like either coughing, or you'll have me kind of like, oh, he's repeating himself. I guess this is also kind of a shout out to James Rolfe. I sure hope he keeps going, and I hope he's doing well and everything. I know he's getting up in age. Well, so am I. I'm 42, so he's getting up in age. So, but he doesn't really need. Well, he can retire the nerd and still be making videos. I think I like James Rolfe as a person. His caricature of the nerd is I like, but nice if we had a more expressiveness of it. Yeah. Well, he has a life, he doesn't, as I know there's a lot of people on YouTube here that like, they're desperately, because this is like the only job they have. It took me a while to find the job that I've been comfortable doing. Yeah, I do a regular job. I don't do this as a job. I think people get nuts about it. Well, there's been periods I just don't feel like doing videos, but I don't mind doing videos of games I like. Mega Man 1 and finding out that it really doesn't take that long to get through it. Yeah, so, anywho, I just wanted to explain what my feelings were on the 20th anniversary special of the Angry Video Game Nerd. And shout out to James Rolfe. I hope, as I've said, I like his videos. I'm not hypercritical of really anybody on YouTube. I think sometimes it gets to where, you make videos so high quality that you have to constantly keep making them high quality. Yeah, I don't really like a lot of YouTubers that do comment videos. I mean, I'm doing this just to express my own opinion. Of course, this is my opinion. It's just some people try to say that James Rolfe's wrong about his video. I don't know. I like Castlevania 4, but I feel like I like all the Castlevania games. I don't think I could actually technically decide which is the best of all of them. I think they all have a uniqueness to them. Even Castlevania 64. I think that game is still fun to play. I mean, it's better to play the Legacy of Darkness one, but yeah, I mean, I see all the good. I see all the good points in some of the. I see the good in a lot of these Castlevania games. So, everything of anyone that's better. I mean, like we have Bloodstained, which is like a spiritual successor to Castlevania. Yeah, I mean, I would like James Rolfe to make another video of, and cover a lot of other Castlevania games that he hasn't covered. Probably. I think maybe he should do that before he big decision. But, of course it's nice to see, you get a sense of how long he's been doing this, and he's got so many videos to pull from, and yeah, he's done a lot, I think. But I don't know if he's running out of crappy games to do. Which is why sometimes I would think it would be nice if he, maybe it's just videos where he's just himself and not having to be the nerd all the time. But, yeah, well, I think I remember a few years ago, I was living in West Virginia. I was I couldn't get to work because it snowed, and I was kind of stuck at the house and just really starting to get into YouTube, because I hadn't really been really into YouTube, and all of a sudden I was just there, kind of glued to it. I think I watched almost every episode that he had pretty much made up to that point, and I was just very intrigued how creative each one was, and ultimately, it says a lot of these games are bad, but a lot of them, it's like he does like them and does appreciate some points of them. Of course, some of the games he plays are just, you question why they were made, or why there was so many bad games on the NES, and they were all LJN. A lot of them I played personally when I was younger, so it's funny because I kind of agree with what he thinks. I was usually like a kid, I couldn't really, get tons of games. Only for birthdays and Christmases could I, expect to get game systems or games. So a lot of times I would rent games, and, I encountered that a lot myself, where I rent one game for the weekend. It's terrible, but I gotta stick with it and play it. I feel like nowadays, it's like I don't like a game, I can go on the online store and go buy a game. I don't need to, because I'm an adult, so, it's like access to all these games to play, but not really play any of them. I guess maybe, when I was limited when I was younger with games, I kind of didn't take them for granted as much, and really try to get the best out of every game, I guess. We live in an age where a lot of people it's like, oh, well, that's the old NES, I don't really care about it. There was a time where people didn't like it, and it's like, let's get rid of it, and it wasn't cool to be playing games, but YouTube has kind of made things a bit different. But, well, and like many YouTubers, like RGT85, it's like, I kind of agree with his perspective. I'm not really on any side. I'm not on Team Xbox or Team PlayStation. I appreciate all the consoles and going on in the game industry now. Well, when there's all these super duper AAA games that we've spent all this extra money on to try to get these add-ons, and it's like, then the game sucks. I guess back then in the NES days, usually you were renting the game. So it did stink that you were stuck with the game, but, you know, it's like, you know, but you would not have paid, like, nowadays we pay like $80 or up to $130 for a game, and if it sucks, you know, GameStop's going to give us like $2 for it or something. It's kind of, the modern games just don't hold their value. Can't expect to get that back, or really most people really buy them. But yeah, I guess I should thank James Rolfe for kind of, you know, he's one of the ones that encouraged me to do my own kind of YouTube thing, but trying not to be, I don't want to get too big for my britches and have, you know, all these people I'm hiring and all these issues that seem to go on with everybody else. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we've had the Nerd for 20 years, and I hope maybe we'll have the Nerd for another 20 years, or hopefully a much longer period of time. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope maybe James Rolfe himself may be seeing this video. Probably not, but just a shout out to him that, you know, it's always kind of appreciated what he's done, and, you know, I really am impressed with his creativity and how he's been able to kind of try to keep his show, his YouTube channel, like, kind of fresh the way that he has. Well, anyway, I'll see you guys later in the next video. Maybe finishing up Mega Man 1, or maybe we'll be thinking about playing something else. So I'll see you guys later then. Bye.